Penguin Random House Audio presents Glory by NoViolet Bulawayo. Read for you by Chipo Chung. For all Jidadas everywhere, and in loving memory of Comrade Pier Paolo Frassinelli. Independence. Rally. When at last the father of the nation arrived for the Independence Day celebrations, no earlier than 3:28 in the afternoon, the citizens, congregated at the Jidada Square since morning, had had it with waiting. They could have raised the whole of Jidada with their frustration alone, that is, if Jidada had been any other place. But the land of farm animals wasn't any other place. It was Jidada, yes, Tolohuti, Jidada, with a da and another da. And just remembering this simple fact was enough to make most of the animals keep their feelings inside, like intestines. The fierce sun, said by those who know about things to have been part of His Excellency's cheerleading squad by decree, had been up glaring since mid-morning, doling out forceful rays fit for a ruler whose reign was nearing all of not one, not two, not three, but 4 solid decades. The Jidada party regalia, worn by most of the animals for the occasion, jackets and shirts and skirts and hats and scarves in various colors of the flag of the nation, many of the articles embossed with the face of His Excellency, trapped the sun's terrible heat and made the weight even more unbearable. But not all of the animals were going to stand for the torturous weight. Some indeed started to leave, grumbling about having work and things to do, about places to go, about the leaders of other lands who arrived at things right on time like God's infallible machete. These disgruntled animals started as just a smattering, 2 pigs, a cat and a goose. But the faction very quickly grew to a respectable mass, and, emboldened by both their number and the sound of their own voices, the dissidents headed for the exit. At the gate, the group found themselves face to face with the Jidada defenders, Tolohuti, the dogs, appropriately armed with batons, ropes, clubs, tear gas canisters, shields, guns, and such typical weapons of defending. It was a known fact all over the nation and beyond its borders that Jidada defenders were by nature violent, morbid beasts. But it was especially the presence of the notorious Commander Jambanja, distinguishable in his signature white bandana, that made the dissenters promptly turn around and retrace their steps, miserable tails between their legs. Enter the father of the nation, the ruler whose reign is longer than the 9 lifespans of 100 cats, also the longest-serving leader in a continent of long-serving leaders, and indeed in the whole wide world. Now His Excellency's car wove its way through the throngs with the slowness of a hearse, and the animals fell over themselves like intoxicated frogs, hoping to catch a glimpse of the legendary father of the nation. At this point, the sun, upon seeing arrive the leader who was decreed by God Himself to rule and keep ruling, a leader who'd in turn decreed the very sun to head his cheerleading squad, took a deep, deep breath and thoroughly blazed to impress. A select group of dignitaries, all males, most of them old, accompanied His Excellency on hind legs. Accompanying the accompanying dignitaries were decorated defender leaders in military gear, colorful embroidered ropes cinched at the waist, caps pulled low, shiny constellations of medals glinting on solid chests, star insignias bouncing off the shoulders, white gloves on front paws. These were the generals Tolohuti, the true linchpin of His Excellency's rule. Throughout the square, animals whipped out their phones and gadgets to take pictures and videos of the procession of power. Behold him, yes, Tolohuti, him, and only him, himself, the anointed one, the only one, the supreme one, the most magnificent one. With the arrival of His Excellency, Jidada Square came alive. Tolohuti, the father of the nation, had such an aura, his mere presence in any space automatically rearranged the atoms in the air and shifted any given mood, no matter how hostile or dismal or foul, to a positive and electric one. Those who know about things say this quality had especially been a dozenfold more potent a long, long, long time ago, during the first years of His Excellency's rule, when his appearance alone made unripe things instantly ripen to the point of rotting, cured the sick of whatever ailments molested them, turned rocks to mush, deactivated storms and heat waves, rerouted floods, wildfires, and plagues of locusts, cured fatal viruses before they even thought of attacking, made dry rivers overflow with water. Yes, Tolohuti, the father of the nation's appearance alone, had once upon a time started engines, bent steel beams, and in separate documented occasions made scores and scores of virgins pregnant, so that long before he married the donkey and sired children with her, streams of His Excellency's blood were already flowing throughout Jidada. And now, here was the father of the nation, lighting up Jidada Square by merely happening, by simply being there. The place ignited in flaming applause, and even the animals who not too long before had been trying to leave were now part of the uproar, standing on hind legs and cheering His Excellency, not just with their voices and bodies, no, but also with their hearts and minds and souls. Cows mooed, cats meowed, sheep bleated, bulls bellowed, ducks quacked, donkeys brayed, goats bleated, horses neighed, pigs grunted, chickens clucked, peacocks screamed, and geese cackled. The cacophony reaching deafening levels as the entourage of power came to a final stop in front of a raised platform. The poor and the rich do not play together. Under a sprawling white tent sat the seat of power inner circle of the Jidada Party, which of course was the ruling party, otherwise known as the Party of Power, of which His Excellency was president. With them were some of His Excellency's family members, friends and honored guests. Tolohuti, the group of elites were, in all honesty and jealous down, a magnificent sight. The most exquisite cloth, expensive jewelry, and precious accessories of adornment, together with beautiful, well-groomed, and healthy bodies, told of wealth and good living. These animals represented some of Jidada's chosen ones, and were indeed proof of the father of the nation's benevolence, for most of them had been made rich by His Excellency, if not directly, then through some kind of connection to him. They were proud recipients of gifts of land, businesses, tenders, government loans that didn't need repaying, inheritors of confiscated farms, grantees of mines, industries, and all kinds of riches. With not much to occupy them, being that the celebrations hadn't started, the miserable animals in the sun feasted on the chosen with coveting eyes, and at moments actually forgot the heat cooking their bodies, the hunger gnawing at their bellies, the thirst parching their throats. Yes, Tolohuti besotted with the pretty picture of their shaded betters sitting in comfortable chairs and sipping cold beverages. The hot, salivating animals lapped at the sight, with their eyes like it were a cool glass of honey wine. And when they licked their dry, cracked lips, they were pleasantly surprised to taste faint traces of actual sweetness. Tolohuti, huh? The car doors opened to a blood-red carpet, and the father of the nation emerged. As if on cue, Jidada Square gave a collective gasp. Toluti, Jidada Square gave a collective gasp because they'd seen emerge from the car a long horse, so frail it looked like the slightest...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?